I think Krishna Bhai, if you can take over and maybe introduction and the course as well. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Good morning, everybody. Can I please ask people to go on mute? And if you got any questions or comments, and if you just unmute, ask and maybe sort of go on mute again. It'll just be a better experience for everybody. So again, I shall echo what Vijay by saying, good morning, namaste, everybody. Very welcome to our first day of our first class. The plan today would be to just give you an overview of what we plan on doing over the year, and sort of give you a bit of more information as well. And then from next week, we will actually start our course properly. So as an introduction, Vijay Bhai actually kind of introduced himself. He is effectively our course leader. So we follow him. So he's a lion and we are the cubs.
I'm not sure about that, but anyway, it's a team, I think. Anyway.
So yeah, I have been involved with the Hindu Academy, or before the Hindu Academy was actually even born, the Vivekananda Center in London for since 2003. When we met our mentor, Dilip Bhai Lakhani, or most people will know as Jay Bhai Lakhani. And that's it. I think for me, that was a turning point. He just did something to me that just made me go, wow, Hinduism is suddenly so brilliant, so wonderful. You know, it was just not just about rituals and going to mandirs and bowing to deities. So that's my background in terms of Hinduism. My profession, I'm a chartered electrical engineer, and I work designing electrical control systems. And most of you may know my latest project was the Tower Bridge, where I was doing some work. So if this Tower Bridge failed in the last couple of weeks, yeah, I put my hand up. I don't think it did though. So Vijay, but very quickly, if you want to just tell about yourself for a minute or so, and then I'll take over again.
Okay, sure. So yeah, so my name is Vijay Hirani. So I've actually been teaching since about 2003 as well, the Hinduism course with the Hindu Academy, and before that, the Vivekananda Center. So basically, me and Krishna Bhai have taught nearly thousands of students through the classes. Yeah, so again, it's just Krishna Bhai. I'm also a chartered engineer. I actually do telecom stuff. That's my main profession, but my passion is Hinduism.
Yes.
So something else as well. Just to give my background, I mean, my father also studied in a Gurukul. So yeah, so from very young age, I've been brought up with a lot of Hindu ideas and scriptures and all kinds of stuff. And then with Jay Lakhani as well, I've got really a huge kind of backing in broadening my knowledge of Hinduism and also how it links to the modern kind of era. And I think that's one of the Jay Bhai's main message was that to present Hinduism in a modern fashion, modern rational fashion, so that it actually kind of can be understood by the modern public and especially our children, because I think most of children struggle. They don't go to temples. They struggle with understanding all these archaic ideas. So how do you refresh the message of Hinduism and present it in a modern light so children can understand it and see the amazing kind of what do you call gems we have in Hinduism and the immense heritage we have over thousands of years. And how do we bring it to the modern youth? That's our kind of main goal. Right, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Vijay Bhai. Right, so now that we've done with the introductions,
I think also Anjani Ben, can you introduce yourself as well? She's our main coordinator. We can't do any of this because she's the one who arranges the video, the notes, the Google Drive, by the way, where do you get all your stuff? So she's like the main pipeline between you guys and us. So you get all the material. So she's very vital to our job. Anjani Ben, can you introduce yourself, please?
She's the mother of this group, yes.
Yes. Anjani Ben, because I know that we all communicating with you pretty soon. So
she might have left by now. No, she's.
Okay, so next time when she joins us, we'll introduce. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And how many men is not here?
I didn't see her name.
Okay, next time we'll do. Okay.
Right,
okay.
So I'm just going to share my screen. We'll start now. Something we should have started with earlier. We've done the introduction, so you know who the personalities you'll be dealing with. So we'll just start with prayers. I'll put the prayers on the screen so you are aware of the words that go with it. So if you can chant along with us. Om Bhur Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhur Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us meditate on the glorious effulgence of that Supreme Being who has created the universe. May she enlighten our hearts and direct our understanding. Om, peace, peace, peace. Okay, we've set our mood nice and calm to move on. So just to take you through what we do, we will be covering the Cambridge University Module 2055. If anybody wants to sort of kind of Google and find out, it's the Hinduism course. It is an international GCSE. Okay. Cambridge University IGCSE is an international GCSE course, module 2055. If anybody is planning on taking the exam, which we hope there'll be a very, very large number. In the UK, anybody in London or surrounding areas can contact Anjali and Vijay Bhai as to where the exams are taking place. Anybody in Leicester or the Midlands, there's a place in Leicester that will allow us to sit called Alpha Tutorials. Again, close to the time, we will give you the contact details of Alpha Tutorials as well. If you are an international student outside the UK, what we would suggest is if you can try and find out where your local center is for doing the exam. And I'm sure wherever you are in the world, there will be one available to you. So if you just, in fact, I think normally Anjali does put a link on, which she will, as to where you can find out or how you can find out where the exam centers are.
Yeah.
Okay,
Krishna, just to add as well, for some students, they can do it in the school as well, if the school agrees, yes?
Correct. Yes. Sorry. Yeah. So if you are in a school, just check with your school. If they do the Cambridge University exams, then in fact they should also allow you to sit at no cost. The school should really bear the cost of the fees. That is what we have done here in Wellingborough in the past. But then we have a good understanding with schools here. So yeah. So just bear in mind that if you're outside London or Leicester, you may need to put a little bit of effort in to try and find a center. Right, so it's an international GCSE course, which effectively is the old style O-level course. So it is two GCSEs combined into one. What you have is you have two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Logic would tell you that. Paper 1 comes in 3 parts here, as I'm showing here. The first part, you have to cover gods and goddesses. So we have to cover what they call the A01 and A02 objectives. So we have to.
We can't see the course. You can see only the prayer, Vedic prayer at the moment.
Ah, sorry.
Thank you.
Right, now I need to find out how to share this screen.
Okay.
Okay, let's. Right, new share. There we go. Is that better?
Yes, it's come up now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vijay.
From here, Krishna Bhai.
Yeah.
If I can mute everybody.
Can you do global mute, Vijay?
I can do that, but I want to allow you. That's the thing.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
but
Yeah,
if you go to participants and do, can you do mute all, Krishna Bhai? Try that. Go to participants. And do mute all if you can. Can you do mute all from participants? Okay,
Is this
stop
all
now.
correct?
Okay.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
Continue.
please, can people please go on mute? Because some background noise seems to, well,
I'm on mute, aren't I?
it's, yeah, it's not very pleasant. So, yeah, okay, so we have two papers. Paper one, we have to cover three categories. We got the gods, we got the avatars, and we got festivals. So we got basically for each one, we have to cover two objectives in the syllabus, A01 and 02. So we, for example, when you look at gods, we have to look at, when you look at a god, what does that god or goddess look like? Yeah, we have to identify what the features are. Then every feature has got a meaning behind it, because just having a first feature is not good, is it? We need to understand what that feature means. So we actually cover the meaning of the features. And then we have, for each one, we have to sort of do a bit of a story. And then what we also do, although the syllabus doesn't quite require, it just gives you a bit of strength in your arguments. You also cover what the philosophic meaning behind the story is. A story on its own is not really any good to us. So as you can see from there, from the gods, we have to cover Vishnu, Shiva, Durga, Ganesh, and Kartikeya. Just talking about goddess Durga doesn't do any justice to the other goddesses, does it? So we actually spent a bit of time talking about sort of Mother Goddess Parvati, Goddess Kali, Goddess Lakshmi, Saraswati, and then finally we talk about Durga as well. Only because I have a deep reverence for Goddess Kali myself, and I'm sure most people know why. Then we have to cover the idea of avatars, but before that, we also need to cover, as you can see on the screen, the idea of the three murtis, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, and what actually they represent. But you can see there's very little on Brahma, there's very little talk about Brahma, so that's not covered out any more than that. We have to cover the avatars. So yeah, why do we have avatars? What actually is the reason for them? What each avatar has, what unique thing it has, each avatar has brought for us. We actually discuss all that. And then we actually also discuss what are the unique features between each one, and whether there are any differences.
What can we do? I mean, although it is a pretty property also.
Right. Okay, can we carry on?
Yes.
Celebrated any festivals within the Hindu tradition, you will know that every day there's a different festival, either a small one or a big one. But our syllabus requires these four festivals: Mahashivratri, Ganesh Chaturthi. Although we've always pronounced this as Kavadi, I find out very recently it's actually pronounced Gaudi in South India, and Diwali that most of us understand. So this is what is required of paper one. And then moving on to paper two. Sorry, I'll just come back to, I'm just going through the overview at the moment. Paper two is what Vijaybai will be covering. He's perhaps got the harder part than I have on paper one. So paper two is the first part when we have to cover the first three is the philosophical scriptures, the Mundaka Upanishad, the Chandogya Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3. These actually are the scriptures that will tell you what are the sort of essence of reality, what underpins reality, and what underpins you, me, and everything in this universe. And the fourth bit is two sections of the Ramcharitramanas, or the Ramayana, as most of us know it, the Ramayana, the Tulsidas Ramayana, not the original Valmiki. That is another very, very long scripture, so we have to cover two sections of it. One is the what we call the Kishkindakan, that is the episode when Ram and Hanuman meet, and the Aranyakand, where Ram and Mother Sabri meet. And you once you sort of understand these, once Vijaybai covers them, is you will see the contrast and the similarities between the two, as to how Ram, there were two different personalities, Hanuman and Sabri, and how Ram treated them equally. So that is quite an important episode in the Ramayana, the 2 episodes. Section B, we have to cover the Hindu life ceremonies. So this is what we very affectionately calls 4x4. So we have the 4 varnas, that's the classification of the 4 types of people. The 4 ashrams, this is where we discuss different stages of life. The 4 purushas, which are the 4 objectives every Hindu aspires to. And again, why and how these divisions take place is something we will cover in more detail. And the 4 samskars, the rites of passages. Although within the Hindu tradition, generally people say there are 16 samskars. Some scriptures talk about 23, some talk about even more. There's some 4 that we really have to focus on for this syllabus. And then the third part is when we have to cover some personalities, some reformers within the Hindu tradition in India. And the first one was the founder of the Brahmo Samaj. It's called Ram Mohan Roy. Another really fantastic character is Swami Dayananda Saraswati, who was the founder of the Arya Samaj. And these 2 Samajas, although different, they do have some similarities as well, and we'll actually explore that in more details. And the third is the favorite that I'm sure Vijayabhai and I both have. We actually love this personality, Ramakrishna Paramahansa and his spiritual experiences. So expect a nice big discussion on this fantastic personality. And the fourth one, my least favorite, is Gandhi. But I think the English love him, so we have to cover him. So this, in a nutshell, is a syllabus. Now, before we go any further, I'm just going to go through over the next, because this diving straight into the syllabus. I mean, if you're new to Hinduism, it might be a bit daunting. So I think Vijayabhai and us, we actually had a bit of a discussion with it. It'd be nice to start with a bit of an introduction. So for the next few months, what we're planning on covering, if I just change my screen again, then
So Krishna, I think Avni Ben has also joined us. So
okay.
when you get a gap, we can introduce Avni Ben as well.
Let me just finish this bit, Vijayabhai, and then we'll bring Avni Ben on.
Sure.
So the plan is we will start from scratch. We'll talk about the origins of the word Hindu. Where does the word Hindu come from? People talk about Hinduism being eternal. So when the universe was born, is that when the word Hindu came up? We'll talk about where the word comes from. We'll continue to talk about whether Hinduism is a religion. Most people, and it really cringes me when people talk about the Hindu religion. I'm thinking, guys, are you serious about this? So we will actually discuss why Hinduism can be a religion, but more than otherwise, it is not a religion. So if it is, what are we? We'll discuss that. We'll discuss the idea of Sanatan Dharma, what it is, how it began, what actually it actually signifies. And once we actually cover this, I'm sure most of you will be able to relate to what Hinduism is about in the role of Sanatan Dharma. Another favorite that people tend to sort of shrug away from is people say, your religion is very crazy. You have all these many gods. How does that work? Yeah. So we will actually give a counter argument to say, no, we are not polytheists. We are actually pluralists. And we'll actually do a bit of a further discussion on that. We will then continue to talk about key beliefs. If you're a Hindu coming from any particular branch of the Hindu Dharma or the Hindu religion, if you want to call it that at the moment, every one of us will have certain key beliefs which you all sort of subscribe to, and we will actually discuss this in quite a more detail. Now, again, this is not part of the syllabus, but this is some concepts that are very, very useful and really key to understanding ourselves and our spiritual journey, the 3 gunas. Like I say, it's not in the syllabus. I haven't even quite decided where I'm going to plug this in at the moment or where we plug it in, but we will cover them because these are very, very important concepts within the Hindu tradition. We'll continue to then, this is at this point, we actually dive into the syllabus. We'll talk about the gods. Like I said, we'll talk about Trimurti first of all, very quick discussion. We have an in-depth discussion about Vishnu, Shiva, Karthik, and Ganesh. We'll talk about the goddesses, Goddess Lakshmi. Goddess Lakshmi gets an introduction with Vishnu anyway when we talk about Vishnu, but we'll talk a bit more when we talk about gods. Then we talk about the Goddess Saraswati, and here, although we say gods and these gods and goddesses are made up, with Goddess Saraswati, there's some historical foundation behind Saraswati, so we'll talk about that as well. Of course, we talk about the goddess of the universe, Goddess Parvati, and her manifestations, Kali and Durga. Then we move on to the avatars. I've already sort of spoken about what we will be doing with the avatars, so no need to sort of talk anymore. And I've also said about what the plan is to cover the 4 festivals. So that would be paper 1, but in addition, there are other topics with requests we've actually added on. One is worship. How do you conduct worship, first of all, at home? And secondly, how do you do that in the mandir? So we'll actually go through an exercise. And when you carry out worship, there are certain things you do, certain artifacts you use, and why you use them and how you use them and what their significance and what their relevance are. We'll cover that, so it becomes a bit more meaningful. Then we also talk about pilgrimage. There's a lot of people who like to talk about pilgrimage, and we'll give quite an overview as to why people go on pilgrimage, some of the more popular spots for pilgrimage. Now, most people will know that in 2014, the United Nations declared 21st of June as International Yoga Day. So around that date, we'll try and fit in a talk on the yoga, its philosophy, and its practice. And that is what sort of I'll be covering as part of paper 1, and perhaps a lot more than just paper 1. Some people, since I put this slide together, some people have also commented, it would be nice to know about fasting. Why do we fast? What is important fast? Especially, is it the one that comes every 2 weeks? It's Ekadashi, isn't it? Yeah, so Ekadashi will also be, people say, why, what's so special about every 2 weeks that we have to keep our stomachs empty? So we'll try and cover the idea of fasting as well, because fasting is an important topic to explore as well. It's not just about starving yourself and keeping yourself dry. It has got some deeper meaning as well, the reason for fasting. So that was my plan for paper 1 and all the topics we'll be covering. So I'll stop sharing at this point. So Omniben, are you there?
I am. Thank you. I am. Yeah, I'm afraid my
Do you want to bring yourself online? Your video on, and then we haven't seen you for a while, so.
No. My computer's doing a reboot, so I will try. But thank you for the introduction. I'm on the phone at the moment. I will keep trying to get onto the.
Do you just want to give an introduction about yourself?
There we go. It's
we're happening, are we?
Yeah. It's rebooted. So thanks everybody, and welcome to the Hinduism classes. And apologies, I wasn't able to join right at the outset. But yeah, thanks Vijay Bhai and Krishna Bhai for the introduction. In terms of the sections that I will cover, I will cover the aims of Hindu life, the 4x4 that Krishna Bhai mentioned, and the 4 characters that we study. And I'll also help with study skills and examination practice, and just really try to answer as many questions as possible. So thanks very much for the introduction. Is there anything else that you'd like me to add, Vijay?
Yeah, your face on the screen would be nice. And
Can you not see it?
No, we can't.
Not yet, I think.
Oh.
One thing I will say whilst we're waiting for Ovni Ben is something that comes out of chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita. I can't remember whether it's chapter shlok number 4 or number 9, but Krishna Bhagwan talks about the quality of a student. Yeah, and he says the student has to. I mean, I'm bringing this up because some of what he talks about, I'm really expecting from everybody. So he says, first of all, he says the student should show respect to the teacher. So we don't expect you to come and bow to us or anything. So please sort of put that to one side. The second part is perhaps the most important. Yeah, so he says, Tatvidhi pranipadena pariprashnena sevaya. So he says, to gain this knowledge, first of all, you show respect for your teachers, but second part is perhaps for me the most important, praniprashnena. Ask questions. So I'm sure Vijaybai and Avniben and would agree with me that we are expecting lots and lots and lots of questions from you. Yeah, I always argue. I was just talking to some youngsters yesterday. I says, we look at 3 of the great scriptures, the most popular scriptures we have. We have the Shiv Puran, question and answer. Here, Mother Goddess Parvati herself is asking questions of Shiva. Yeah, you have the Bhagavad Gita, where Arjun is asking the question. Without Arjun asking questions, we wouldn't have had the Bhagavad Gita. And the other popular one is Srimad Bhagavad Puran, where the disciple Parikshit is asking his guru, Shukdev. And without that question and answer, we wouldn't have had that scripture either. So, like Vijaybai says, we may not have all the answers, but if we do, we'll give you the answers. If we don't, we'll put up our hand and say, sorry, guys, maybe we can find out and come back to you, but we won't lie and waffle to you. But Omniman's online now. We can see you. Over to you, Omniman.
Hi. Thank you, everybody.
I was just killing a bit of time for you there.
No. Thank you. Thanks. That's really helpful. And just to follow up on that, we found in our previous online sessions that we get some participation by some people all the time, and others a little bit more reluctant. So please participate as much as you can. Use the chat facility if that's easier for you. Put the video on if you can. We'd love to see you. But you will learn more the more interactive, sessions we have. Also aware that there are many students who have not done GCSE. We recommend this for year 9. Some children will start at year 8 and maybe even at year 7. So we're aware that not everybody's done a GCSE, and this will be the first GCSE that they actually do. And it's done in a year. So it's challenging. So where parents are online with their children, please give as much parental support as you can. It will be invaluable. I think it will give great opportunity for discussions around the breakfast and dinner table as well. And, I expect the parents will learn. I learned when I did this GCSE, I learned a huge amount. So the parents will learn as much as the adults. And in terms of process, I would say during the introductory phases, weeks that Vijaybai just went through or Krishnabai just went through, don't worry about notes, just listen, just absorb. But as we start the syllabus, I would suggest that you start to take your notes. We will record these sessions, but it's a Sunday morning. Once it's done, it's done. It's unlikely you'll go back to the session. So I would suggest that you start to make notes really from the beginning of the course. Don't wait till 3/4 or halfway through the course to start to make lessons notes, because we're doing this in a year. You're going to not have time to go back on every subject. And the subjects do, they cover quite a lot of material. We will provide some guidance notes and PowerPoints at each session. But really, for you to get a good in-depth understanding of the subject, I'm old-fashioned. You really need to make notes, whether you do them digitally or by hand, doesn't matter. But have a good set of notes for you to revise and practice, especially in the summer months leading up to the exam. You'll need a really good set of notes to revise. And then finally, I would say broaden your Hinduism knowledge. There's masses of material on the web. There are lots of events and activities. So when you go to the mandir, ask, what is this murti? What is these characteristics of this murti? When you celebrate a festival, find out more about this festival. Don't just celebrate it,
but find out a little bit more about it. When somebody talks about a personality, Gandhiji, for example, find out a little bit more about them. So start to broaden your Hinduism knowledge. And the web is, fantastic. There's also the Hindu Academy. I don't know, Vijay, if you've mentioned that.
Not yet. No. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure Vijay will get to Hindu Academy because that's a fantastic source of information. I guess you probably want to know a little bit of myself, which I didn't do. So I'm Avni Chakra. I live in Amersham. I've got 2 boys, age 15 and 12. I'm a lawyer by profession. I sat the GCSE with my son in 2019. He was sitting at year 9 and he was one of the youngest in the class. So I felt he needed, I wanted to give him some support by sitting in on the classes. And at the time, the classes were still live. And Jay Lakhani, who started all of this, was there, and Vijay Pai was running the classes. And I really sort of found I learned a huge amount myself. And during lockdown, we moved online. And we managed to continue and do the exams in October. And because I'd done the course, I did the exam as well with my son and got a lot out of it. And following that, I've agreed to help with the delivery of the course. And the examination, as we said, is in October, November next year. So it is quite a short time. It feels a long time, but actually to get everything in and to broaden your knowledge, it's quite a short time. So thank you very much for joining. And I hope you stay with us for the full course.
Yeah. And along the way, we want to try and make this course a fun-filled course, to have fun. We don't like it to be serious. So we will also, as part of your revision, we'll also do some crosswords online, where you answer the question, we ask them. Well, it's a fun way of doing it. So we want this journey to be a fun-filled journey, not a serious one, but at the same time, it is quite a serious topic to study. And at the end of the day, I'm sure when Vijay Pai talks about the scriptures, especially the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita, Hinduism is an experiential tradition. It is not about book learning. It is not about just reading up and say, I know it all. That is just being an academic. It is not being a serious seeker. But we have to start our journey somewhere, and our journey has to have a bit of theory of it so we can build on it. But the idea is that we want you to have fun just as much as we have fun delivering it.
I think, Krishna, just one thing to add, what Avani mentioned, remember this course is actually a 2-year course. If you need it in school, it'll be year 10, year 11. As Avani mentioned, we're doing it in 1 year. So keep that in mind. But we will help you, really help you a lot. We'll give you a lot of tests, not now, but when the time comes. So we'll do our best to prepare you. Yeah. So.
Somebody's asking about textbooks. Does anybody?
Okay, I was going to share that. I was going to share the website, but let Avni first.
I was just about to say that not everybody does the exam. We found last year that a lot of people attended the course and didn't do the exam. Now, I think that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Yeah. Absolutely fine. Personally, I would say you're going to get more out of it if you do the exam. And, it's adults actually that fear the exam more than the children. And, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So you'll get more out of it if you do the exam. I appreciate not everybody feels they need another GCSE. So that's okay too.
Okay. Right. First of all, some resources. There's a huge amount of resource on the Hindu Academy website. So that's www.hindu-academy.com. Textbooks. This is one good one, Hinduism for Secondary Schools by Sita Lakhani. Again, this is available for download on PDF if you go to the Hindu Academy website.
I'll just share the website, Krishna.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this is the, if you can see that, this is the website. As Krishna mentioned, hindu-academy.org. They also have we have a free e-learning course online. But if you're doing GCSE, then you'll cover far more than this. But you can have a look. There's so many topics you can cover. The course covers interesting stuff as well if you go to the course. But that's online course, not GCSE.
Yeah.
But you can have a look if you want to. But The books that Krishna I mentioned are here. You can download the books, the Hinduism. So I think this will help you with some of the stuff. Mainly paper one, and parts of paper two as well. Yeah. Yeah. Krishna, over to you.
There's another book that I like people to use. Is this one called the Explaining the Hindu Dharma. Can people see that? Yeah. There's some good stuff in there as well. This is published by the VHP, Vishwa Hindu Parishad. And this is quite a good book as well. But I think Avni Ben last year also did suggest another book of Amazon, didn't you, Avni Ben? Oh yes, she just put it on.
There's an AQA book, so it's a different board, but you know, it does have some relevant information.
Yeah. And the other thing, just to say, is, as Avni Ben says, there's a very, very vast amount of information on the web. But I would also sort of kind of raise alarm bells as well, because there's a lot of wacky stuff as well on the internet. So you need to be careful what website you're going to. Just be prepared not to be brainwashed. That's all. So when you read something, just think about it. If it makes sense, only then take it on. Just don't take it because somebody's put it on the net. So yeah, in terms of resources, I think there's plenty for you. At some point, Vijay spent a very, very long time, a huge amount of effort putting some notes together. So we'll distribute them as well as we go along. Okay, anybody has got any other questions?
I think just quickly to add something else as well. I think one thing to remember is that quite often we have a lot of preconceptions or notions of what Hinduism is. But partly because we live in a Western world, and quite often we see things from an Abrahamic angle. So this course will be please be ready to change your mind, because we really show you from a totally different angle what Hinduism is about. As Krishna mentioned, one of the main things is like we think about books when we see religion, but Hinduism is far more than that. And it's not a religion, like, you know, Abrahamic is a book, religion of the book. And the Indic faith are experiential kind of dharmas. So all this will cover. So I think you will learn a lot of stuff, and really, hopefully, you'll get a much more better understanding of what the idea of Hindu dharma is.
Okay, I think I'm kind of done with what I want to say. Niben, do you want to add anything else?
So there's a question. It says that the leaflet indicates that the course is for age 9 above, but the we're saying that the exam is year 9. So yes, the exam really, I would say, I mean, year 8, year 7, if they feel they're ready for a GCSE examination, they could do it. My experience is really there are some very in-depth ideas here. So I would say really year 9 for the examination. But the course really, you know, there are lots of areas of the course where any age group can participate. So if you have a 9-year-old and you're listening in with them, that's absolutely fine. The gods and things like that, they will appreciate, and the festivals. So I think those areas are great for any age group, but the examination itself, I would say ideally year 9, year 10, because there are some, it's a GCSE ultimately, you know, it's designed for that age group.
Yeah. At the end of the day, what we should say is parents, you are the best judge of what your child is capable of. So we can sort of give as much advice. If we were running face-to-face classes, then we could actually come to a decision or a judgment ourselves, but we can't do that. So we are reliant on parents taking the decision. But I think Avni Ben's really right that age 9 onwards, it'd be great for them to sit in and just understand in preparation for the next maybe 2 years after, when they are really sort of mature enough to do the exam.
And I intend that for my 12-year-old. So my 12-year-old will sit in, but next year he'll do the exam.
Yeah, I mean the material is understandable. Even this sort of more challenging part would be understandable. But don't forget, at 9, you need to teach them how to write essays as well, rather than just the Hinduism stuff. So yeah, I fully agree with what Avni Ben saying. Is please bring your child along, but leave it for a few months before you think that maybe whether they want to do the exam or not.
I think to add as well, parents, please come to the class as well,
Yes.
because then you can, as Avni mentioned, you can have some dinner time discussions. and argue between mother and child, and what is right, what is wrong. It's a healthy kind of debate. It's nice.
It's a healthy debate. And I think, as Vijay, you've said that, in schools, children are taught about religion in terms of the Abrahamic religions, and they're fundamentally different to Hinduism, fundamentally. And even we grew up in schools in this country. And I think a lot of my generation has grown up quite confused as to our own religion, because of the bedrock of education we've had based on the Abrahamic religion. So I think that this course really does a lot to dispel that and highlight the differences. If we have a few minutes, it would be great to say hello to the students if they're able to introduce themselves.
Yeah.
I think let me do that. I'll just get the chat up.